all wisdom comes from the Lord. A basic truth, I don't think anyone would dispute that. The beginning of the book of Sirach, which we read, we just get a little tease early this week as the lectionary moves into wisdom literature, but then that will be disrupted by the beginning of Lent on Ash Wednesday. So we just get these 2 days of the beginning of these wisdom books. And what the writer of Sirach tells us helps us to situate ourselves rightly before God, recognizing essentially that God is God and we are not. There is one, most high, all-powerful creator, king, and truly awe-inspiring one, seated upon his throne, and he is the God of dominion. We need simply to surrender, to give ourselves over and recognize the source of everything that we have and everything that we are. A fitting tribute today as we celebrate and observe President's Day, as we honor those really kind of those founding fathers in President Washington, and we honor President Lincoln today, but we honor these men who were lifted up with great integrity. And part of their integrity, I think, as we honor them and see them in such iconic fashion, is their sense of humility and recognizing who they were and who they weren't. A challenge with what we see too often today is ego and hubris run amok. I'm right and you're wrong, and everything having to be this kind of polemic in our political and civil discourse today. A fitting way that we honor these iconic figures in our history. And today, what we hear from the wisdom literature tells us about what true wisdom looks like. The encounter in the gospel today, the disciples perhaps haven't quite figured out exactly who they are in light of Jesus. As they struggled, scratched their heads, well, why couldn't we drive out this demon? And Jesus' response is, this can only happen through prayer. Essentially, this only happens when you recognize that it's not you, but it's the gift of God's grace. That everything we do as witnesses to the gospel comes as we let Jesus work in and through us. We give ourselves over, and we recognize again that all wisdom, every gift, every grace, every capacity in us is not us, but it comes from the Lord. Let us give thanks for that promise, that gift that God is with us, working in and through us, and ultimately saving us and leading us and calling us to himself in heaven.